Hello everyone, I'm RecV5.
And I'm Sandman99. And we're back, and we're going to do a little bit of a replay feature here as something to do in between seasons.
Indeed.
We're just coming off Season 2 with our Lifers playthrough, in which we won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
However, we're not playing the Lifers in this replay. We're playing a team known as the Washington Piggies.
Yep.
And we do this. We play a couple of side franchise modes just to test plays on offense and defense and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Before we put them into our playbooks to use for our recordings.
Yeah.
And actually, this play is more of an illustration of how things can go wrong rather than a spectacular success.
Yeah, we call this replay fucked up blocking.
Yeah.
And it's because nobody does what they're supposed to on this play at all, whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it, too, is what I have referred to before as block fuckery.
Yeah.
Which means that an offensive lineman will ignore a defensive lineman or linebacker at the line of scrimmage in an attempt to get further down the field and block out the last line of defenders.
Yep.
And what they're doing is they have this remote hope that the halfback can maybe break a tackle at the line of scrimmage and then get into the second level, and all the second level defenders will all be blocked out by these wonderful offensive linemen that are 10 or 15 yards downfield.
As offensive linemen obviously are.
Yes, and it's one of the reasons why when you see us play against an AI team, their offense will run the ball 15 or 16 times in a game, and 15 times they'll get a yard or 2 yards or a loss of 2 or whatever, because they ignore defenders at the line of scrimmage, and I manage to pop through and stuff them for a loss.
It's also why...
But one play, once in a while, they will actually manage to get someone free and run 85 yards for a touchdown.
Well, not just that, but it also affects our running game too, because we have a lot of complex runs that rely on specific blocking assignments.
Yeah.
That end up breaking down when people don't do what they're supposed to do.
That's right.
And that's what you're going to see here. This is a toss play to the right. The quarterback's going to toss the ball to the halfback here. As you can see, it's pretty risky situation here. You really don't want to take too much risk at this end of the field here. All right, so a run play is probably a good choice. But it's not going to matter so much anyways, because in the grand scheme of things in terms of blocking, you'd expect the guard to pick up that end. You would expect this tackle to hopefully seal off that linebacker in the middle. And then we've motioned this fullback over so that he can come and fill in that hole, because there's double coverage on the wide receiver here. And hopefully he can pick up at least one of those guys. Right? And then, you know what? The safety's kind of close to the line. If you can get a couple yards here, well, that's nice. But, you know, you're probably not going to get a huge gain. But at least you could probably run for not a loss.
And don't forget, you still got number 39 there, who will hopefully pick up someone as well as a lead blocker.
Yeah. And he's right there.
Yeah.
So anyways, this play starts, and you can already see right away things are going wrong here, right? Instead of the right guard picking up this defensive end, it's the right tackle, and maybe that would be forgivable if this guy was stunting or trying to make a maneuver to the right, but he's actually angling his block inwards, which means he followed this guy in, all right? Which means this guy was actually going the opposite direction. He followed him in, which means this guard has nothing to do but head up field now, because what else is he going to do? Right? He just had his man stolen from him by the right tackle, right? And so then he's going to run upfield, and obviously he's not quick enough to outmaneuver that linebacker, and that's whatever, right? You know, there's nothing you can really do about that. But then there's this. Come on, man. This is a cornerback, or that's a linebacker standing right in front of you, okay, but you're a cornerback and the guy's standing right in front of you. How do you not engage with him? You just don't engage with him at all. It's not like he outmaneuvers you or out-agilities you or whatever. You just don't engage with him, right?
Yeah, there was no attempt to make a block there made at all.
Which puts number 84 in a horrible position, because he's totally not in a position to block that guy, right? He can't turn and pick that guy up. There's nothing he can do about that, right? Which means that because he has to do this turn because this guy fucks up his blocking assignment, he isn't there to pick up this linebacker that doesn't get blocked by this guard. Right? So that gets fucked up, right? And then this fullback has to choose somebody, right? He has to choose somebody to block out here, and he's just going to choose the cornerback because I guess he's going to come and hit the running back first here, and at least this way he can try to reduce the loss, and that leaves the halfback with basically only one choice. He has to cut upfield and confront this goddamn linebacker and try to run him over, or else this play is going to be a total wash. It's going to be a safety damn near, right? So the play ends up going and ending up like that, and, you know, unsurprisingly, I think that's a run for no gain, or maybe 1 yard.
Yeah, you might have made a yard. You might have made a yard on this play.
Yeah, it depends on where they spotted that, but you know, it just goes to show you how fucked up things can go and how badly they can go when people don't do their assignments. Because, you know, it would be one thing if one guy didn't do his assignment, like this tackle doesn't do his assignment, right? That's fine, okay, you know. People make mistakes once in a while, right? Not every play is going to be run perfectly. But come on, what is this?
You should have still had enough blockers over there to block everybody, because if the wide receiver blocks the corner over here, and then number 84 goes up and blocks either the middle linebacker or that guy on the outside, then your lead blocking fullback can still pick up the last remaining defender. And
then you can still get a run for a couple of yards.
But you have basically 3 players who screw the pooch on this play, right?
Yeah.
All at the same time.
And it's just this kind of thing in general. This kind of thing is like the most irritating thing ever, because you see it play after play after play when you're playing. Like, even when we're playing in our franchise mode, you see this over and over and over again. And I know we tend to pause the game briefly and point that out when it happens, but it is like one of the most irritating things in the rushing game ever. Like, even if this linebacker completely pastes this wide receiver, in which, okay, I could buy that, you know, even though it's a cupcake linebacker versus a cupcake wide receiver, it's still a linebacker, right? And so if he pastes him and puts him flat on his back, you know what, at least he tried. But he doesn't even get a piece of this guy, right? You know, getting pasted and getting put flat on your back could buy valuable seconds for the halfback to get up the field 1 more yard, and it would also make sure that this fullback here actually blocks either this guy or this guy, right? But instead, we're just gonna, you know, let that guy into the backfield, which means the lead blocking fullback back here has to pick him up because, you know, obviously he has to pick up somebody. And the whole goddamn thing just gets screwed.
Yeah. And let's keep in mind that we're playing against the lifers, who are a cupcake team.
They're
right?
awful.
Yeah.
But the blocking is awful anyways. Even when we're trying to block against a cupcake team, the blocking is awful. And I can't tell you how much more often this happens against a good team, like an all Madden team, like the Dallas Desperados or the Zombies.
Yeah, but that is one of the reasons why we develop rushing sets like this, with lots and lots of blocking out in front, because we're pretty much counting on one player blowing an assignment.
Unfortunately, if 2 or 3 blow their assignments, there's nothing you can do. I mean, even if 2 players blow your assignments, you might get a couple yards on this, but if all 3 players blow their assignments, you're just screwed.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've beaten this to death now.
All right.
So we'll move on and get past our bitterness here.
All right, we'll pause here for a second, and we'll come back with the next one. And we're back with another one, and this one is going to be an example of good blocking.
Yes, and this is actually my signature offensive formation, the wishbone.
Yep.
And I'm running this play, again against the lifers, who are in a 3-4 against the wishbone. And so if we actually start this play off slowly. Now what's happening here is I've audibled to a run up the middle to the halfback. And number 84 is a fullback, and number 39 is a fullback.
Yep.
And basically, I've got number 84 leading through the gap, basically just behind number 79 there.
Yep.
And if you back up for a second here, you'll notice that number 70 there blocks the defensive end on that side.
Yep. He goes out and he picks him up.
And the center, number 62, blocks
the guy right in front of him.
The guy right in front of him. And the right tackle, number 64, blocks the guy right in front of him.
Yep.
And
actually, the tight end blocks the guy right in front of him.
The tight end blocks the outside linebacker there. And then you'll watch what the guards do. The guards actually go up and they block the two inside linebackers. So all 7 of the linemen and linebackers on the defense are all blocked. Okay, there's no dropping of blocks and all that kind of nonsense. You've got no offensive lineman wandering around loose 10 yards up the field and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's just good solid blocking.
It's just good solid blocking all right at the line of scrimmage where you need it. And even though some of these guys are getting pushed backward, well, there's a big enough hole there that I can run through it.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
And I'm just following the fullback here.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how far back the center and the tackle have been pushed back, but that's fine.
Yeah. Because they all do their jobs just long enough for me to be able to escape. And even the wide receiver on the left there has got a block on a guy too, right?
Yeah, and that's a linebacker too.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't hold him off for very long either, but it was just long enough. And now I get out here into the second level, and here comes the corner from the left and the free safety from the top.
And it's like, yeah, okay, this would be a successful run play, 7 yards for a run.
Yeah, and I'm willing to accept that. I don't need any like block cheating going on where there's an offensive lineman out here blocking a safety or whatever.
Yeah, it's nothing spectacular. Right? It's not a touchdown, but it's a good solid run.
Yeah, but the fullback does actually block the free safety here. Although you get a little bit of block sucking there, but and so the cornerback is the guy who has to make the tackle. And since is how Thomas there is a fairly solid back, well, I'm able to run over the cornerback. And now this is where the magic starts, right? I'm able to, basically get past him and then outrun everybody to the end zone.
Yep.
But that's how a successful running play should look. Basically, you don't have any linemen or anybody else dropping blocks at the line of scrimmage. Everybody at the line of scrimmage blocks someone, and then you just try and find the hole when it opens up and run through it.
Yeah, and this does happen sometimes, right?
Yes, it does.
Sometimes they do their blocking assignments correctly.
Yeah. So we had a case where everything that could go wrong went wrong on one play, and then we had another case where everything went right.
Yep.
But anyway, I'm not so sure now whether, because this is the year of the D, I'm not so sure whether some of this offensive line nonsense was built in there to cause running plays to fail, or maybe it was built in there to try and create big plays on the ground. I don't know.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm kind of scratching my head about that one, but I know that generally speaking, even if you have a good quality team, your offensive line blocking at times is terrible because they don't trade assignments properly. They don't block the people that logically they should block.
Yep.
And in this particular case, each guy on the line blocked a guy directly in front of them, and they didn't do any weird trading or anything like that. Like everything just worked the way it was supposed to. So anyway, I guess we'll move on.
And we're back.
Yeah, and here we are again. This time, it is yours truly running the Wishbone offense against the Dallas Desperados.
Yep, and we figured we'd show this one just because even though we've already shown an example of good blocking, we wanted to show that you can get good blocking too against like one of the highest caliber defenses in the league, right? Like this is the Dallas Desperados. They're an all Madden team. They have like a 99 overall defense, right? And not only that, but here you're running the same play as last, or no, you're running a slightly different play from last time, but you're running it to the fullback, number 39, but he's only got 58 speed.
That's right. You see, this started off as, it was called as an off-tackle run to the right, where you'd hand the ball off to number 24, and the two fullbacks would lead to the right around the right side. But since they shifted their line to that side, Well, it gives me a little bit of extra space, and I just use the playmaker stick to reverse the direction of the run. And what that does, happily enough, the way that this formation is built, is it actually changes it so that you're handing the ball off to number 39 on the off-tackle run.
Yep.
And the number 84 and the halfback are now leading to the left. So basically, what's supposed to happen here, again, is your left guard should block that defensive end there, number 97.
Yep.
And the left tackle hopefully will go up and get that linebacker. The center will block the guy right in front of him. The right tackle will block the guy right in front of him. The guard will hopefully get the middle linebacker, and the tight end will just block, that defensive end if he can.
Yeah.
And the odd man out, of course, is going to be that left outside linebacker, but hopefully he's far enough away that he's not going to be able to disrupt this play before I can gain a few yards. So anyway, if we run it, we can see that everything goes exactly the way it's supposed to. Look at that. Number 70 moves ahead and he blocks the linebacker. Number 79's got the defensive end.
Even if he does get
the center
pushed back
has
a ways.
his man. He's getting, number 79's getting overpowered, but
he's still holding on to him.
He does manage to hold onto his block long enough for me to run past them. Right? And I mean, he does get beaten, but by the time he's beaten, I'm already by and running the other way. And look at the great job number 70 is doing there, holding off that linebacker. And the other two guys, number 78 by now has lost his block, but he did block number 56 for a second or two, which gives me time to be able to run.
Yep.
Now look at the way this is setting up. Now the wide receiver didn't really block anybody. He's sort of running in space up there. But watch, the halfback turns out to the left and blocks out the corner, and the leading fullback blocks his man in front of him there, the safety.
Yep.
And my fullback is able to keep going, and look at that. Our wide receiver finally got a piece of the strong safety who was trying to come across from the other side of the field, right? It's not much of a block, but it's enough to slow him down a little. And so keep in mind, this is a 58 speed fullback rumbling down the field against an all Madden defense. And, of course, he gets his feet cut out from under him at the 2-yard line, but manages to stay airborne long enough to break the plane of the goal line, and that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that was about a 22 or 23-yard touchdown run by a very slow fullback.
Yep.
Because everybody blocked the way that they were supposed to. So, but this is also a rare and unusual thing, right? You don't usually see your offensive line execute this way, especially when they're that badly outclassed.
Yeah.
Right? Like individually. But you can see there that they all did really a very good job. Even number 79, who looked like he was being overwhelmed, but he managed to slow that guy down long enough that I could get by him, even with a very slow player. So, anyway, and the unblocked outside linebacker back there, well, he came running across, but he never really, he takes the angle and all that kind of stuff. And I think he's the guy that actually makes the hit eventually, but by the time he's able to get in there and pursue me, it's already too late.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, I like to run the ball. I use the wishbone mainly because, as we illustrated in our first replay in this particular video, I plan for at least one blown blocking assignment. So I want 2 lead blockers in the backfield ahead of the ball carrier.
Yep.
Because hopefully one of those lead blockers will pick up the man that the blown blocking assignment let free.
Yeah.
But in this case, everybody did what they were supposed to do, and I was able to, rumble and stumble for a 22 or 23-yard touchdown. So, anyway, we'll move on.
Alright, and so we figured we'd go and touch over this one just right quick, just because it's kind of nice and cool to show off and everything. But this one is the stretch run from the single back big. Right, so you have the single back big here. We've motioned the wide receiver over from the right all the way to the left-hand side in the slot here. All right. And then this guard is pulling, and he's going to pull around and come around out here. and this is a handoff to the running back. So then he's going to run wide and try to run out this way and around everybody else because there's nothing but open field out there.
Yeah, since that cornerback in man coverage followed the wide receiver when you moved him over.
Yeah, and not only that, but this guy is double covered, so there's no safety back there. There's no anybody back there. So basically what ends up happening is as the blocking sets up, every lineman does what he's supposed to and picks up a guy, and then the pulling guard comes away, and thankfully this linebacker doesn't just immediately shoot the gap.
He's too far back by the looks of it.
Yeah. Because whenever you see this handoff gets disrupted, it's usually because of something like that, right? But, you know, halfback comes along, and okay, that guy gets beaten. If we weren't running as wide as we were, that guy might be able to get a piece of us and stop this play dead. But thankfully, we're running a little bit wider than normal, and I guess he bumps into the pulling guard. The pulling guard doesn't actually block him, but it's enough to prevent him from tackling us, I guess.
And then it's a foot race, basically.
Yeah, then it's a foot race, and we win the foot race. So yeah, it's just what we're trying to achieve with this stretch run play, because it does work sometimes.
Yeah, and actually what happens is more often than not that pulling guard will turn sharply and head straight ahead through the gap there.
Yeah.
Because usually there'll be a loose defender moving across the field. So if we go and stop right here, and this gap that's right there, quite often there'll be like, say if the guy that number 78 is blocking manages to beat him.
Yep.
Well,
or
he's going to loop around and try and shoot through that gap, and that's what the pulling guard is for. Right?
That's right. And so in that kind of situation, you'd hope that number 78 picks up this guy maybe.
Yeah.
And then the guard who's pulling around would come up and fill that hole and pick up this guy, because he's going to try to sweep around and stop the run.
Yeah.
In the backfield. So it's basically just how this run play works. It's a fairly simple run play by design, and I guess sometimes if you if this guy really gets beat badly to the outside, you've always got the option to cut it up this hole.
Yeah, because the pulling guard will also sometimes pick up that guy that if he beats the block of the tight end. There,
yeah,
right?
Or sometimes if he beats him fast enough, you'll have enough time to cut back in because he's overcommitted to the outside.
Yeah.
And you don't tend to pick up huge yards or touchdown runs this way if you have to do that. But in this particular case, everything just needed to work, and everything did.
Yeah, you were able to get outside, and then Richard Thomas there is fast enough to outrun everybody. But anyway, yeah, that was a stretch run designed by RecV5X.
All right. Okay, and we're back with the next replay. And this one's a defensive replay by me. And I'm blind up in my 3-3 nickel type setup here with the linebacker. He's just cheated down on his own. Normally he'd be like back here, but you know, they do that kind of cheaty thing that they do sometimes. And then we got a linebacker there, a linebacker here, 3 defensive linemen. I'm playing the defensive tackle because that's how this always goes. And I'm pass rushing around the right side of the offensive line.
Yes. You use your outside linebackers as pass rushers.
Yep. And we've got man coverage, 2 deep zones, man coverage on the halfback, because I don't know why. Sometimes when they line up in these reverse tight end formations, the nickelback will choose to cover the halfback instead of covering the tight end. Yeah. That's just kind of a deficiency. And then, yeah, and then man coverage on that guy and another deep zone over here. But even though I'm expecting a pass here and I'm lined up in my 3-3 nickel, they don't give me a pass here. Instead, they decide to give us a toss play. And Sandman99 has some insightful things that he wants to go over on this toss play.
Yes, one of the things that I noticed, actually, there's a couple of things I noticed about your particular defensive style, and that is that you play a lot of 3-3 nickel.
Yep.
And you also tend to recruit players for size and strength.
Yes.
as opposed to speed.
I always draft players who have the highest bench press totals on their in the rookie draft.
Yeah. But anyways, so what that tends to do, though, I think that's probably one of the reasons why you play a 3-3 nickel, because you want guys out there that, even though they're large and strong for their positions, they're still quicker than linemen and
linebackers.
And the extra defensive back could almost play linebacker in your scheme.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed, if you scroll to the right here a little bit,
Yep.
and there's a key moment here, and this moment is with the cornerback Brooks.
And Brooks he's not the speediest corner in the world, but he's a bit bigger than a normal corner.
Yeah.
Right? He's over 200 pounds. He's a bit of a bigger guy. He's not a converted safety. He's just a big corner.
Yeah, and a very good tackler too.
Yeah.
But if you zoom back a little bit here to the start of the play, now this is a toss to the right, or to the left on the offensive side. So it is coming toward Brooks. And if you watch how things go here, watch this wide receiver. He's coming up to put a block on Brooks. And this very moment right here, this is what causes this play to blow up.
Yeah, because you can see how much bigger Brooks is than him.
Yeah.
Right.
And watch what happens when that wide receiver tries to block Brooks. Okay. And, he pastes him, and then he continues on pursuing the run. And it's basically the fullback that has to block him now. So Brooks, this is number one, factor number one that caused this run play to fail, is that Brooks single-handedly ate up 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you back up again here a little bit to the beginning of the play, the number two moment, if you focus on the tight end. Now, watch, there's Travis Wade, number 54, linebacker, and that tight end. Watch what happens when the play starts here. Okay, the left tackle blocks the defensive end, Ben French, like he's supposed to.
Yep.
The tight end does not block Wade. Okay, he does not even try to block Wade. He just runs right by him as if he's running a pass pattern or something. And look at that. He's hunting for a safety to block. Okay, this is that block fuckery that I talk about that happens once in a while. Like
he's aiming for Toby Johnson here.
Yeah, he actually drops the block at the line of scrimmage to a defensive player who is potentially in a very good position to stop the run.
And that's a block suck too.
Yeah, it is, but still, I mean, he shouldn't have been up there to begin with. He should have been back at the line of scrimmage blocking Wade.
Yeah.
And if you back up a little bit now and watch what happens when Wade moves over, okay, and focus on Wade. Now you'll see the pulling guard here, because they do have a guard pulling, number 75. But he's in a very poor position to block Wade, because Wade has already got outside position on what's basically a sweep.
Yep.
By the offense. So number 75, because he's an exceptional individual, does eventually catch up to Wade and pancake him, but look at what happens. Both he and Brooks fall into the path of the halfback.
Yep.
So the halfback has to adjust and move laterally toward the sideline to try and get around this mess, which allows Washington there, the middle linebacker, to catch up to him and tackle him.
And then,
and then the third thing that made this play work for the defense and
Washington
failed miserably is
very smart.
Watch Washington. He's very smart, and you know what? He's not real fast either for a linebacker.
Yeah, he's only got like 69 speed.
But he is aware enough to actually take a very good pursuit angle here and watch the center after he snaps the ball. The center actually does what he's supposed to do, which is he tries to block Washington. But Washington is a little quicker than he is. And
he takes off straight sprinting.
And he goes on a straight line toward the sideline as soon as he sees the toss, which means that he's able to avoid the block by the center, because the center is just not quick enough to catch him.
Yeah, because at this point that would be clipping.
Yeah, and if you watch now, though, the center sticks with him and keeps, chasing after him. But he's too slow to keep up to a, modestly speedy linebacker.
Yeah.
Look at that jump, eh? Wow, look at him jump over that player laying on the field. But he does eventually manage to get a hit in on the nickelback. So if you back up, just back up toward the bottom of the screen a little bit. Okay, and watch now. He still does. See, watch number 20 there coming in. And number 73 turns around and he sees the nickelback there, Gooden, and he flattens Gooden. But by then, it's already too late. Washington has already escaped, and between the two of them, Wade and Brooks have already messed up this play and turned it into an irretrievable disaster.
And basically, Washington's not going to miss that tackle because he's also a big, strong player drafted for his size rather than his speed.
Yeah. So at first, when you started running this style of defense with the type of players that you have, I used to just, like shake my head and wonder how you could get by with all of these slow players on the field.
And never give up a touchdown run.
Never give up a touchdown run. But you know what? Your defense, even though it looks a little thin in the front there, is surprisingly good against the run. And it's because you've got these big, strong linebackers and big, strong corners and big, strong safeties, and they are quick enough that they can string a run out to the sideline and not allow that halfback to turn the corner.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the size difference here, and even if we look at the him versus the fullback is really not that much bigger than him. He's a bit thicker, but he's not that much bigger.
That's right. Because you recruit players for size and strength, even corners. I mean, like your cornerbacks could play safety. And your safeties could play linebacker. In fact, at least one of them is a converted linebacker.
That's right. Yeah, and then one of my linebackers is actually got converted to a lineman eventually.
Yeah,
but I think this might be why I don't tend to give up touchdown runs. Whereas even when I'm playing with the Pro Bowl team, I'll give up touchdown runs, and it's probably because the corners on the Pro Bowl team, they might be excellent coverage guys, but they can't do this.
No. And another thing to mention here before we close the book on this one is that you're up against the bad men here.
Yeah, they're an all Madden team. That's a 99 overall halfback, and he's probably got 90 plus speed too.
Yeah. In fact, pretty well every player on the team has got a well over 90 overall rating.
Yeah, and this fullback we know has a 90 plus speed rating as well.
I mean, all you need to do is see what that center did, right? That center is a 90 plus rated player, probably mid 90s rated overall.
Yeah.
And look at him run. If that had been our center, well, he would have been left way behind. He wouldn't have even been able to get a block on somebody.
And he certainly wouldn't be able to make this jump.
Yeah. But anyway.
This could have been a touchdown going the other way if the corner had not pancaked that wide receiver. This could have been one of those cheesy touchdown runs.
Yeah, actually, that was, I would say, the number one key moment. And the other thing is, though, when you watch that tight end go down there and hunt down and block that safety, well, you know what? That was not going to stop this or cause this run to turn into a touchdown run anyway, because if you continue on here and watch, well, Johnson fights off that block. He doesn't get pancaked, and now he's loose.
Yeah.
And he could move over and cut the ball carrier off toward the sideline now.
Yep.
Right? Because, he's still got 10 yards there of cushion.
Yeah.
To move over, and he's already beaten his blocker.
Yeah, and Johnson's he's one of the older players. We're actually trying to replace him right now with a rookie linebacker, so we'll get somebody even bigger in there.
Yeah, but watch also this other player who's coming along from the left, right?
Yeah,
not sure who that is now because his name is kind of wiped out there. But you know what? He's also moved over and pursued.
Yeah, that's good.
Point. Yeah, where okay, he's getting pancaked there now.
Yeah, he gets pancaked.
Yeah, just that his name glitched out there. Anyway, so this is kind of just a look at how your defense works as opposed to the way mine does.
Yeah,
actually,
size might makes right. Damn it.
Yeah, that's right. Size actually does matter.
And we're back with another defensive replay, this one from you, I do believe.
Yes, and you'll notice that I play a considerably different style of defense than you. This is a nickel package as well, with 2 linebackers and 4 linemen.
Yep.
And what I've done, though, is I've shifted the linebackers to one side so that the inside linebacker there is lined up in a position to possibly blitz. That's Nate Wright.
Yep.
And that's the right outside linebacker in the standard nickel position.
Yep.
And you'll also notice that I've got a defensive back crowded up to the line on the same side as the linebacker on the left.
Yep.
And what I'm doing here is I'm basically blitzing. You've got another player there, the defensive back on the right side as well. Mm-hmm. What I do is I move my safeties up to the line, and I move my cornerbacks back, and I actually move them into the middle of the field a little bit as well.
Yep.
And so basically this play is a zone defense, and it's almost kind of like a cover 2, except that, the normal cover 2, the big flaw with it is that you can't get any pressure with just a standard 4-man rush.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I called this play Crash Blitz, and that's because I've got the 3 defensive linemen there, 93, 95, and 99, all crashing to the left. And I've got the linebacker in the space there on the hash mark. He's blitzing. And the defensive back just to his left is also blitzing, Robertson.
Yep.
And if we zoom back out now, I've got a defensive back there, number 21, who's going to run to a flat. Langford, the linebacker, 53, is going to drop back in a deep zone. And the defensive end there, number 97, is going to drop back into a short zone. And then if you zoom back out and have a look at the guy on the far right there, that defensive back is going to run a flat zone, Rogers.
Yep.
And the 2 deep guys are going to play deep zones.
Yep.
Okay. So this defense does have some of the same flaws as the regular cover 2 zone does, but you can kind of cover those flaws up if you can get into the backfield and sack the quarterback before he has a chance to throw the ball. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So if we run this now, you'll notice that the 3 linemen all crash toward the left.
Yep.
In fact, the center can't even keep up with number 99 there, and that. So he basically,
in spite of the fact that this is the zombies.
Yes, this is the zombies. So I'm up against an all Madden offense here. This seems to be victimize the all Madden team day today.
Although they do trade off intelligently, at least.
Yes, but you'll notice that they left the running back in the block, and one of the reasons that I drew this play this way is to combat that particular tendency, because if I'm only sending one guy from that side, well, the running back picks him up, and then basically the quarterback's got all kinds of time to pick me apart.
Yep.
But the running back can only block one guy, and that means that the other guy is going to come in untouched. In this case, it's the linebacker who's got a free shot. And I'm going to get a sack. So what this is it's a refinement of a type of play that I had developed earlier. But basically what I'm doing is I'm doing a double blitz from one side. And, and pretty much that's the idea. You want to get in really fast. You want to sack him before he has a chance. And you'll watch the receivers on the left side here. Because if I don't get him, he's got triple receivers on that side. 2 of them are running into the middle of the field, and the guy on the inside is running a corner. Now, a good quarterback who throws a accurate ball will be able to hit that guy running the corner, and he's going to get a big gain on me. Because my deep zone defender there is basically in the same kind of position that a zone defender in a similar cover 2 type of situation would be in.
But by this time, he's already getting hit.
But by this time, he's already getting hit. So that's the part where I'm able to make up for that shortcoming or weakness in this defensive scheme.
Yep.
Because if I can get back there and get a hit on the quarterback or rush him and make him throw the ball early, like
he's either going to throw it into the dirt.
Yeah, he's either going to throw it into the dirt, or If he cuts that corner route off too early, then the guy playing the flat zone on that side is going to be able to react and come back and make a play on the ball too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically how this particular play works. Now, I take a few more chances on defense than Rec V5X does. I play a lot more zone defense than he does. He usually has some element of man coverage, even when he is playing zone.
Yep.
Whereas I'm willing to play a full zone defense and have a little bit of thin coverage in a couple of places if I can send 5 or 6 pass rushers and go after the quarterback. So it's a high risk, high reward kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So anyway, this time around, it was high reward.
Well, this kind of thing can create turnovers too, right? Because even if he throws it into the dirt, if he gets hit and he throws it at the wrong angle, that actually gives this player here an opportunity to try to step after that.
Yes.
Even though it's going into the dirt.
And I do quite often score defensive touchdowns because I'll pick off a pass that's supposed to go toward the flat, or I'll pick off a stray pass like that. Sometimes the deep zone guys will actually jump in front of a pass and pick it off too.
See, that's the disadvantage of big, strong players, though, is they tend not to be finesse players.
Yeah.
They tend to have hands of stone.
Yeah.
If you are a cornerback with like 16 bench press reps or more, or 18 bench press reps, you can't catch.
Yeah, that's true. And so as a result, I do tend to draft linebackers and defensive backs for their speed rather than their size and strength.
Yeah. You focus a lot more on coverage ability, which allows you to play schemes like this.
Yeah, and I use a lot more 4 and even 5-man line schemes as well to try and be a little tougher against the run, because I don't have good tacklers in the secondary like you do.
There are no 260-pound linebackers on this team.
That's right. So, but that speed though, right? Like that linebacker that got the sack on this play, he's fairly quick too. Like he's got 70 plus speed, which is not bad for a linebacker. That defensive back that got pancaked by the halfback there, well, he's got like mid to high 80s for speed.
Yep.
And he's a safety, right? So my safeties tend to be about as fast as your corners.
Yeah, and they're about the same size as my corners.
Yeah. And I try to avoid having cornerbacks that have speed any less than 90. Although they tend to be smaller, faster guys, right?
Yeah. Although even your linebacker here, like he's barely bigger than that halfback.
Yeah, he's not a big linebacker. He's a quick linebacker, right?
Yeah.
But that fits in well with the type of defense that I play, because I play more of a X's and O's kind of thing where I try and eat up all the blocks and then have free guys rush in to attack the quarterback, right?
Whereas I'm just like, saturate everything with coverage. And that's what I do.
Yeah, and overpower blockers.
Yeah.
Right. You will also use sometimes the standard 3 or 4 man alignment without any extra people coming and just overpower an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't have players who can really do that.
All right. Shall we move on to the next one?
We'll move on.
And we're back with another defensive replay, this time from Sandman99.
Yes. And this is my version of the 3-3 nickel. And I'm going to say that I was inspired by your method of playing. I did have to put some different wrinkles in, mainly because of differences in personnel.
Yeah, so you can see the defensive ends are way wider.
Yes, because I don't use the outside linebackers as the principal pass rushers the way that you do. I use the defensive ends.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons for that is because of my tendency to look for players who are smaller and quicker as opposed to bigger and stronger.
Yeah, and so your bigger players are naturally going to be your defensive ends.
That's right. My linebackers are not big and strong enough sometimes to overpower a blocking running back.
Yeah.
But my defensive ends are. So basically here I'm playing a full man coverage under 2 deep.
Yep.
So we've got the corner over there, Hanks, and then this nickelback Brown playing man coverage on the slot guy. And then we've got the corner Thompson playing man coverage on the other wide receiver. Boston has got man coverage on the fullback, and Boone has got man coverage on the halfback.
Yep.
And basically, the left outside linebacker, number 56 there, Hicks, has got a pass rush assignment.
Yep.
And what I'm doing here is I'm controlling the nose tackle, and my job is to crash him into the guard there.
Yep.
And Hicks is going to just charge straight ahead and occupy the tackle. And then the left defensive end there, number 93, who I think is the substitute guy, because I think Bolt was actually injured for a while. So this guy is like a second string scrub on a.
He's got like 53 speed
on a cupcake team, right? But he's still bigger and stronger than a linebacker.
Yeah.
So anyway, if we run this play, I mean, basically this is the Zombies. They're passing offense. They're an all Madden team.
Perfect blockers.
Yep. And they like to run this, 3 wide receiver set quite a bit. But you'll watch now. What happens here is I'm expecting number 67 there to pick up Hicks.
Yep.
But this is just sort of an extra added bonus byproduct of this. Number 67, for some reason, moves over and picks up the defensive end instead. And look at that. Hicks has got through the hole in the line and got a free shot at the quarterback.
Yeah, I guess it's like John says, if you try to block everybody, you end up blocking no one.
That's right. And so basically what happened here is I'm not sure whether it looked like he had 2 running backs going in the same direction running pass patterns or something.
Yeah. Well, one ended up being a blocker.
Yeah, one of them ended up being a blocker. And the left tackle actually didn't block anybody.
Yeah, because I think he tried to block both of these guys.
Yeah, that's what happened. And the blocking running back picked up the defensive end, and Hicks comes slicing through there, and bang. So that's not the way this play is supposed to work, but it happened to work this way this time. It very seldom works this way. Although I notice with this particular alignment that occasionally you do get this result.
Yeah, whereas
right,
I have never seen this happen with my stuff.
Yeah, the tackle gets confused, and he looks at the pass rushing defensive end and then turns around and picks him up. Even though they've got a blocking running back, it looks like the fullback who moved over to pick up Chrisman there.
Yep. And then you end up with a tackle going downfield.
Yeah. Not sure what that was, but anyway, this doesn't look like it was a screen or anything like that. The right tackle just blew his assignment.
Yep.
So there you go. Even all Madden teams have this blocking problem every now and again.
Well, but you know what? Even if this hadn't happened, I mean, this probably wouldn't have looked so good for them.
Yeah. Well, what's supposed to happen here is, of course, Hicks is not going to overpower that tackle, but he's supposed to eat up that block and force the running back to come over and block the defensive end, which is exactly what happened anyway.
Yep.
And then the defensive end is supposed to be able to overpower the blocking running back.
Yep.
However, he didn't even have a chance to really do that because this play was over so quickly that, there was, it was almost like an insta-sack, right?
Yep.
It happened so quickly that there was really no time for the defensive end to overpower his block.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of time on this play at all.
Yeah, and basically all I'm doing here is I'm playing man 5 under 2 because I was expecting a pass, and I think it was a long yardage situation, so I was willing to give up a shorter pass if I had to.
Yep, and they're only sending 4 players out into the formation and 3 players downfield anyways.
Yeah.
Plus, I guess that downfield tackle.
Yeah, they're sending the tackle out into the pattern there. But I'm not sure what the halfback's doing. It looks, maybe that was a screen. That's why the tackle did that. That's a halfback screen. You see that?
Yeah.
He turns around like he's going to try and receive the pass.
Yep.
Yeah. And screen passes don't typically work very well against man coverage anyway.
Yeah, because there's already the man coverage guy way up here.
Yeah. But anyway, it looked like the tackle was trying to get out in front of the screen there, and he forgot to pick up Hicks.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's about all there is to say about this, but it's just interesting to look at what happens sometimes.
All right, and we're back, and this replay is called Gift.
Yes, and it's basically an example of what happens when everything goes wrong that could on both sides of the ball, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what's happening here is I'm playing a nickel defense, but with the monster defense, so I have 5 defensive linemen.
Yep.
And I've got the line shifted over because I'm trying to, like spring the left defensive end around the edge untouched because I'm expecting a pass. And they're in an I formation, and they move the tight end over to the other side.
Yep.
Sometimes
they're probably sending him out in the formation.
Yeah, sometimes I find that they play that little game where they'll move the tight end side to side, and I'll shift the line side to side, to try and get that matchup where I have the defensive end uncovered.
Yep.
But anyway, in this particular case, this is a play action pass, and the defense completely screws this up. So watch the play fake. Here comes the defensive end, and he's trying to tackle the halfback instead of going after the quarterback. And not only that, but he misses the tackle on the halfback anyway.
Yep.
Right? So there you go. Not only did he forget his assignment and go after the halfback, but he screwed up and didn't even tackle the halfback. Now watch, the tight end is running a crossing route over here.
Yep, and that's because they motioned him over.
Yeah, because that would have been an out otherwise, but turns into a crossing route. And he gets a bump from the coverage guy there, which slows him up a step. And then the quarterback fires the ball out there, and it looks like he's trying to throw it to the tight end, who reaches out to try and catch the ball, but the ball hits the halfback in the back and bounces up in the air.
God.
And then the bouncing ball goes right to the defender there on the outside who's playing a flat zone.
Yeah, it actually bounces off him twice. 1, 2.
Yeah, bounces off his back and then off the top of his helmet, and then it goes to the defender who's playing a flat zone out on that side.
God, eh?
So, basically the only player in this entire play that did anything right was the guy who ended up catching the ball at the end.
Yeah.
Making the interception. But
there's no way they should have motioned this guy over, knowing full well that those 2 routes would interfere.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way they should have done this motion anyways.
Well, and there's no way that the quarterback should have had a chance to throw that ball to begin with, because that defensive end is an experienced player, and he should have known to go in there and continue the pass rush.
But then the quarterback also should have known not to throw this ball after motioning these 2 guys out there that are going to interfere with each other.
Yeah, basically the halfback, it's like that halfback hook that the halfback runs sometimes after play action. But he and the tight end totally interfere with one another.
It's not defensive pass interference.
So this play didn't work out well because of anything that I did. Basically, they screwed up on offense on this play. Like that's just terrible, right?
Yep.
And then my defender happens to be right there, and the ball basically just comes down in his hands, right?
Yep. And
the only way that this play could have gone any funnier or any worse, it would have been if he'd have dropped it.
God.
So yeah, this play was a comedy of errors on both sides of the ball. And the funny thing is that even if the defensive end there manages to make the tackle on the halfback after the play fake, the tight end catches this pass, he's going to be wide open.
Yep.
Right? But the halfback, because he managed to break that tackle, gets down the field and interferes with the pass.
Oh my God.
So, in a way, my incompetence on this particular play worked for me.
Jeez.
So, anyway, that was pretty funny, and because it's a funny thing, right? It's not something that I did particularly well. In fact, my defense played absolutely terrible on this play, and then got extremely lucky.
Yeah, you really did get handed a gift here.
Yep, I did. I got handed a gift right there. Oh well. Anyway, moving on.
And we're back.
Yes, and here we are looking at the Lifers offense in our alternate lifers playthrough.
Faux lifers.
Yeah, the faux lifers, where I'm playing offense.
Yep.
And I like to use the single back tight as one of my passing formations.
Yep.
I can run out of it sometimes, but running out of it is a bit iffy. It depends on whether or not your wide receivers can actually block. But anyway, this particular case, I am going to try and throw a touchdown pass here because I'm 3rd down and goal from about the 15-yard line.
Yep.
Up against the Desperados again, the Dallas Desperados. And basically, I call this play fades, but what's happening is the two inside receivers, number 89 and number 83, both take a 45-degree cut toward the middle of the field and then run straight ahead in a streak.
Yep.
And the two outside receivers, basically Pittman on the left and Sammy Ball on the right, they make a 90-degree cut toward the center of the field and then run at an angle in a straight line toward the sideline, kind of on a longish pattern too, which is almost like a fade pattern kind of, but except they have that ankle breaking move at the start. And so what we want to do in particular here is we want to watch number 81, Sammy Ball, who happens to be a 4th string scrub on a cupcake team. So he's about a 55 overall rated wide receiver.
He can't catch.
He can't catch. He's pretty slow. I think he has around 70 speed, and his catching ability is like low 50s.
Yep.
And he's up against an all Madden cornerback here,
who looks like he's the size of a linebacker.
Yeah. But watch what happens when we run this play. Watch how the corner covers him. So we snap the ball. Sammy does his cut toward the middle of the field, and look at the corner charge ahead toward him. And then he turns and starts to run his pattern, and look at what the corner did. He turned toward the inside of the field, and he's got this big cushion now. And what I did was I just threw a nice lob pass toward the outside. And here it comes. And even that all Madden corner can't make up the distance there. So,
and he's trying.
But like the ball comes down there, and by some miracle Sammy Ball catches it, and it's a touchdown to a wide open receiver who cleanly beat his coverage. Like if you watch that again, he completely turns that corner around inside out, right? Yep. That is a 4-string scrub on a cupcake team beating cornerback 1 on an all Madden team.
Well, not just that, but you also throw this like pretty much as soon as you see that too.
Oh yeah, like right. I'm looking for that, because that by design I want to throw it either to the guy on the left or the guy on the right. And look at the guy on the left, he did the same thing, right? I could have thrown it to him too. And basically the guys running the streaks down the middle, well, all they're intended to do is keep the safeties in the middle of the field.
Yep.
Right? So
which is what they did.
Yeah, so the safeties can't move over and help out the corners on the outside. Like, I don't know that I have ever actually thrown a pass to one of the inside guys on this particular play. Basically, they're just there to act as a distraction to pull the safeties into the middle of the field, right?
Yep.
And yeah, this is a 4th-string corner on a cupcake team catching a touchdown pass and beating the best corner on the team, right?
Sammy Ball's highlight of his career.
Yep. But I like doing stuff like that, and of course, you know what? What's a replay video without a long pass from Sandman 99? I mean, you know what? I like to throw the ball deep. I've said it before. I am the Mad Bomber, and this is very, very typical of an offense that I play. Right? If they crowd the line and bunch people in the middle of the field like this against bunch formations like this, I like to throw this kind of pass. Because even mediocre receivers the way that this game works, even mediocre receivers can beat very good defensive players
if they do their assignments properly.
If they do their assignments properly. And if the quarterback can throw the right kind of pass too, because you have to throw this as a touch pass and get that nice high arc, and also you want it to lead it toward the outside and have the wide receiver run under it.
Yep.
Right? You can't throw this as a bullet because that cornerback has got enough speed and enough smarts that he could very easily step in front of that.
Yeah, and he'll cut that off and he'll just get a pick six.
He'll cut that off and then he'll take it the other way. But if you throw it as a nice high lob, well, even if he manages to move over into the path of the ball, he's not going to be able to jump high enough to be able to get his hands on this, right?
Yeah.
And quite often I can complete this type of pass against much closer coverage than this too, simply because of the high arcing trajectory of the ball, right?
Yeah.
It just comes down just out of the reach of the defender. And if you have a quarterback with a half decent accuracy rating,
which Baker is,
then you can throw passes like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you need about 85 or better pass accuracy to be able to throw a pass like that consistently. And of course, I throw a lot of passes like this in a game. I'll try 7 or 8 times to throw a pass like this, and I usually will complete a little bit better than half of them. So much to your chagrin.
Yeah, well, you know, most of these types of things I just don't even throw, right?
Yeah, I know. This is a little bit beyond your risk tolerance.
Pretty much, yeah.
But anyway, that's just a little bit of me showing off.
So, I guess that'll be it for this set of replays then, huh?
Yep. Until next time.
All right, I'm RecV5.
And I'm Sandman99. I am the Mad Bomber.
Well, have a good one.
Yeah.